So, I watched Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, and I feel bad for loving chicken nuggets so much. They're just so delicious. I'm sorry, chickens. You're just so delicious if you're watching this. I don't mean to eat you, but you're just, gosh darn it, you're tasty and you're just a good source of protein. I love chicken nuggets. Well, this has been a long time since we had a Chicken Run movie. I was a little nervous going into this. I really did like the first Chicken Run when it came out. I had very fond memories watching it as a kid. And I was wondering, like, one, why are we going back to this? Is there something else that we really have to say about this story? Two, how are you gonna do this now? Because obviously there's some performers that you're probably not gonna use. Gonna need to change some of that up. And, you know, three, will it even be true to the original? Because who's coming in and who's writing this? Like, we have the characters coming back when I saw the trailer, which I was excited for, but also, do I trust that this is going to be the same level of animation and the same level of writing? And I have to say, I wasn't disappointed. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. It is very much, I would say, a true sequel in terms of where it stacks up next to the original. It really does a lot of what the original does well at the same level, but it still gives us, I think, something that's a little bit fresh. So if you liked the original, it is a continuation of the story, and I enjoyed seeing some of these characters come back and how they handle some challenges where things are a little bit different now. So one of my favorite things is kind of revisiting the characters of Ginger and Rocky. You know, now they're settled. They have Molly, this baby together, this little baby chick. We get to watch her grow up in the first part of the film, which is a little montage of her getting older, being very much like her parents, very brave, very outgoing, and also grow up in a world where Ginger and Rocky basically decide to not really tell her what they've been through, because the whole idea that Ginger has is, you know, we went through all of that so that she doesn't have to, so why would we, like, burden her with that? But I think a lot of the themes in this that really, like, hit home for me are about this sense of generational trauma and, like, how do you deal with that? And, like, do you tell someone about it and share it, even though you know it could be, like, painful for the next generation? Or do you try to, like, sort of shield them from it? And this idea of, in shielding Molly from it, they kind of made her susceptible to it, which is the thing that her parents most didn't want to happen. It's also the theme, I would say, here, which is different from the first movie significantly, is this idea of being sheltered and sort of living in a world where you kind of choose what you see, versus going out into the world and experiencing it and seeing it how it is, and really, like, opening yourself up to the pains of life so that you can fully experience what it is to be alive. It just felt like a lot of the times, like, this idea of her parents, like, censoring her life was something that only actually hurt her. And so I feel like you could also say that censorship plays a little bit of a theme here, but other people might not agree with me. That might be more of a loose theme, but that's what I got from it. I also feel like, obviously, freedom is a huge theme, which I figured it would be a huge theme. It does carry over from the first movie, so this idea of what does it really mean to be free, and having freedom of choice and freedom to live our lives how we want, which obviously is always a powerful theme in so many works, especially works that really commit to it. And I feel like this work really did try to commit to the heart of what these themes mean to people. So it did feel like it came from a very genuine place, which is why it worked. It didn't feel corny. It felt honest, and I appreciate that. So what are some specific things that I really liked about this? So other than obviously the themes speaking to me, there were just certain things that I loved. I loved the idea of the plans, which we kind of saw a bit as well in the first Chicken Run. But the plans here were, like, even more extra, and I think that had to be done because also we're going up against a new type of modern chicken farm, which is basically like an evil secret lair, which I loved how extra it was. Like, it has these crazy security protocols. So before, they're just trying to like escape a fence, and now it's like they're trying to escape like this underground like layer that has like security droids and like all of these workers protecting it, and like airtight like walls, and everything's like sealed, and they have mind control collars on. It's a whole other level. They really did turn it up to 11, as we see in the movie, when it comes to them trying to take willpower away, which, wow, what a way to tie back into that freedom theme. It's not just, you know, you choosing to go where you want, it's also you getting free will. Because in this, what happens is, in this modern farm, they want to make the chickens happy so that when the chickens die, when they're processed, the meat doesn't get affected by that, because they're basically saying like the fear of the chicken, you know, dying makes the muscles tense up and means that the chickens won't taste as good, which is a thing that we've seen in sort of modern like meat processing. They try to make things like fast and quick and painless so that the meat tastes better, which is honestly pretty messed up. And although this, I really like it because, as well, I don't think this is a movie that really goes like super heavily into the like, you can't eat meat, and if you eat meat you're a bad person. Like, it's not this preachy film, but it just has it there in the sense of like, that's just how meat processing is. But it still does make you think a bit about like, man, this is messed up that we like eat these creatures and like do this so like robotically almost, and we just have no connection from the food on our table to how it was made. A lot of people in the world anyways. I'm sure some do. And if you're one of the people that's watching this, that you are very like involved in food process so that when the food hits your table, you really do appreciate it, good for you. But I feel like so many of us, myself included, are so removed from it. And it really is, I think, I don't know, it just feels morally gross. And when I think about it, I'm like, ugh, I wish I wasn't like this. But at the same time, I definitely don't want to see an animal, you know, I don't want to see anything bad happen. I feel like I couldn't do that. I think if it was up to me, I'd probably just end up being like a vegetarian, because I don't think I could do that myself. So, although maybe, you know, you get used to it, probably is what happens. You just kind of get, hopefully not numb to it, but you kind of get used to it, I guess. So the things that I really loved about this was, yeah, this base and how crazy it is, and these elaborate plans they have to get in. The plans are just wild, and I love how elaborate they are, but yet at the same time, how it takes them, like, none of these plans go right. Like, they're so involved, and yet something always goes wrong. And then the sort of juxtaposition against Rocky's plan, where he's just like, I'm just gonna launch myself in. It's so funny. In general, this is just a really funny film. It's really witty. It's really well written. It really made me appreciate how much I miss a well-written movie, and how few movies today actually have scripts that are really strong and really good. This was, like, for me, a pretty flawless script. It was very well written, very smart, and very funny, and just had heart in it. It's like everything you could want from a family movie. So really well done. Another thing that's obviously specific to this project and to Chicken Run and sort of Wallace and Gromit and all of that stuff is the animation. And the animation is amazing, and apparently they're almost out of the clay that they used to animate this film, to do the claymation for it, the stop motion. So this might be one of the last projects that we get from the studio with this clay. They don't make their own clay, they outsource it, and the place that they were getting it from, they bought a bunch because they don't exist anymore, but now they're almost out. So I hope if you like stop motion and claymation that you appreciate this film, because we might not see something like it again. They're gonna have to figure out what to do for the clay. And if you're wondering how important that is, apparently it's really important for models, because you want something that'll really like hold the shape, but can still be, you know, moldable, and that has a certain look on film. So yeah, I mean, the animation is amazing in it. So definitely, if you're a person that likes stop motion, if you like claymation and all that stuff, check out this movie. You're gonna love it. The other thing is that I was nervous about some of the voices because I knew we were obviously making some changes. Obviously Mel Gibson is not in this movie, but I feel like the replacements for the voices that they got were actually really good. I did also go back and watch Chicken Run before I watched this movie, and it was really lovely and really fun, but Mel Gibson has a very particular sound as Rocky, and so I was a little bit nervous. And then I went in, and I gotta say though, Zachary Levi did grow on me throughout the film, and I really loved his Rocky by the end of it. I was a big fan by the end. A lot of people are replacing people in this film. You know, Fowler is replaced. Originally, Benjamin Whitrow. David Bradley took over, did an amazing job as Fowler, I thought. We have Ginger, who was originally Julia Sahala and is now Thandie Newton. Also did an amazing job. So overall, I gotta say the voices are really great. Bella Ramsey as Molly was also fantastic. Wow, it was just really a fun film. And also, who voiced Frizzle? Josie Sedgwick Davies. Oh my gosh, and she just looks like such a Frizzle. Like, if you look at her, like, she really does match the vibe of the character. Wow, I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, she was fantastic. And her and Bella together as those two characters, as these, you know, young chickens that become fast friends. It was really, really fun to hear all the voices, and yeah, the voice work was just phenomenal in my opinion. The comedy, like I said, is still great. It's still kind of dark, which I love. It's still very smart, which I love. The part where they turned up the collar to 11, like they turned it all the way up, and then there's an extra setting for 11. Spinal Tap reference, appreciated that. Really, it reminded me just, yeah, what, like I said, what good script writing feels like. Also, we get Mrs. Tweedy returning, which I wasn't sure if it was going to happen. I mean, I think she was alluded to in the trailer, but I wasn't sure if she was really going to be the villain again, but she was the villain again, and like at an extra level. So it was cool to see her come back, and just how Ginger like really messes with her. That was fun. Also, this idea of, you know, death. I mean, I think what I really like in this kids movie is that the suspense feels real because they aren't afraid to kill characters. And although they killed someone that was kind of a no-name character to just show that yes, these chickens are in danger, it does feel like the danger is real because they're willing to actually put the stakes out there and be like, no, like this is a place where the chickens can die. Any of them could die. You do feel that. Although obviously I would hope that the main characters won't die. There were times when I was genuinely frightened for them. Also, there was a moment in this that I think was my favorite. And that moment was when Molly is realizing how dangerous this is, and the chickens, one of the other chickens also gets processed, and it's almost Frizzle, and Ginger is there with her, and she basically tells her, you know, just focus on me, like don't look at it. And this idea of Ginger kind of having to relive that past trauma through Molly, and her worst nightmare kind of coming true of like Molly having to see and experience what that's like to live in a world where, you know, your people, your chickens in this case, are in danger, and where death is a very real thing that can happen at any time because it's a dangerous world. So that part really like just hit me when it happened. It just felt very, I don't know, really sad, but really like honest. I think the only downsides are that obviously Chicken Run was allegorical to, you know, kind of World War II experiences, I would say. Like there's definitely some parallels between the chickens, and the chickens are kind of like, you know, people that would be trapped in like these camps and then just randomly taken and killed. And this is not as allegorical as that, I don't think. If it is allegorical, let me know. It didn't seem allegorical to me. And it is very similar to the first in terms of the plot, except it's a little bit reversed in the sense that now they're trying to break in to basically a farm, a highly technological farm, as opposed to break out because they have to go rescue Molly. And then they end up sort of realizing that, you know, we can't just let chickens go through this, so we actually need to become these like warriors and go like free chickens that are also imprisoned, and not just think about our own freedom. We should bring freedom to everyone and not hide from the world, which is, like I said, very similar kind of to the first film, but they just kind of tweaked it a little bit. So might be too similar for some people. Overall though, I really liked it. I think I would give, do I give it nuggets? That feels kind of sadistic, but I'm gonna do it because it's a film that embraces dark humor, so let's embrace it. I'm gonna say out of 10 nuggets, I want to give it like an 8 out of 10. I feel like it was just really fun and really well made and really well written. And if you want like a good family movie, this is that. And if you like Chicken Run, you'll like it. Did we need it? I don't know. But is it fun? Heck yes, it's fun, and they did a good job. I think they accomplished what they set out to do. That's my thoughts overall. I hope you enjoyed my review. And until next time, friends, stay nerdy. Bye!